Jordan, you're here today from Volaris Insurance to take me through some of the challenges and opportunities around insuring cell tower assets. But first, can you tell me why they call you Cell Tower Joe?
Actually, the Cell Tower Joe, it's a funny thing. It really just came down to the fact that my nickname was Joe ever since I was about 12 years old. There was a baby girl, her name was Ella. She couldn't say my name and she was 4 years old. So she actually just called me JoJo. And somehow she was just a family friend. Somehow my family adopted it and started calling me Joe. And then my family started calling me Joe. My friends started calling me Joe. And then after a while, and I started just doing a whole bunch of cell tower clients, or started writing a whole bunch of them, they just started calling me Cell Tower Joe around the office.
So what makes Volaris Insurance different from other insurance companies in the industry?
The main thing I would say is that we actually have a specific department that specializes in telecommunications and cell tower climbers. That's the main thing. And that's something I really have seen a lot of issues, with a lot of my clients, was the fact that they continue to tell me that I don't know if my agent really knows how to insure me or what I'm doing.
Okay, interesting. And what is a specific example of a time in which you were able to help a client with an industry challenge?
Sure. Let's just take a look at a guy in Texas. I squared away just a few weeks ago. He was sitting in the kind of what you would call the state pool in the state of Texas. And he was paying about $27,000 just for his workers' comp. And I remember not having the right program about 9 months ago. I recently acquired a new program, a high-risk program that is extremely competitive through an A-rated insurance company. I called him back. His name is Sam. I called him. I said, Sam, I've got a program now that's actually not only going to save you money, but it's going to give you higher limits or more coverage. And not only that, you're not going to be bound to the state of Texas, because he actually wasn't able to leave the state of Texas. Now, he was paying about $27,000 at the time, and I was able to save him about $13,000. This was just about a few weeks ago.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And what is the number one concern when it comes to the cell tower climbing business from an insurance perspective? Because this can be a pretty dangerous field, right?
Absolutely. So there's a few things. Obviously the assets they're working on, right? Cell towers themselves, but also the safety of the employees and them in general. There's no cell tower that's, below 50 feet. So, if somebody takes a spill, obviously we can have a very, very nasty situation on our hands, So that's the main thing, is really just making sure they're properly protected, the individuals themselves, the companies themselves, as well as the assets they're actually climbing on.
So with all that in mind, what do you typically look for in a cell tower policy?
Adequate coverage, a policy that's going to adequately cover all the assets they're climbing on. Usually that's a general liability policy and an excess liability policy, usually ranging in from $3 to $6 million combined. Of course, a standard workers' comp policy with statutory limits of, $1 million employer liability. And to ensure they're properly classified so that if unfortunately somebody does get hurt, God forbid, that they are properly, taken care of.
And are there limits to your territory?
The only limit I would say is it's the state of New York, really, and particularly the 5 boroughs. And of course, that's just a major exclusion or limitation for most insurance companies. Now, of course, I can absolutely provide coverage in there, but of course, that's usually a major limitation with most policies.
Can you discuss some common, pitfalls or mistakes you've helped tower climbers navigate?
Sure. One of the things I pride myself in doing is being able to turn around certificates and coverage very, very fast. There was an incident a couple of months ago on a Friday night. Actually, I was working late for a cell tower climber, and I got an email from somebody, and he asked me to, reach out to him, and I did. On Friday night, I was talking to this gentleman named Dan. He's in Pennsylvania. Turns out his former partner had abruptly canceled all his insurance, and he had no idea. And he and I were working together throughout the entire weekend so that I could have him a quote by Monday afternoon and have him covered by Tuesday morning. But yes, it was an ugly situation. His partner actually had bolted and canceled all the insurance.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yes. I got to say thank you to every single one of them, because honestly, in times like these, right, where everybody is bound home or bound to their computer, I mean, they're the ones keeping us together. I mean, and they're not only are they just keeping us together, but they're risking their lives literally doing it. You see, so I mean, they're the ones who are making us all connected or keeping us all connected during these really difficult times. So I would just have to say thank you to them.
Yeah, definitely. And, making sure they are safe and insured is a really important task.
Absolutely.
So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
All right, Jordan, I appreciate you taking the time to discuss some of the details of what goes into, insuring, these cell tower companies and their workers.
Absolutely. And thank you. Thank you very much for having me.